Camila Bousquet from Bousquet Limited. And again, I am not even going to tell you about her because we're going to have her do all of the talking. So, Camila, it is an honor to come over here. Okay, so aquí está. Perfect. All right. Well, I just made my 5,000 step goal on my way up to the stage. Pleasure meeting you. I'm Camila Bousquet from Bousquet Limited. I actually recently had a rebrand, so you might see on the first slide that it was Bousquet Fashion previously, because before all I did was fashion. Now we're expanding into new horizons. So I actually registered my business in 2017, so a while back. However, for the past year, I've been full-time in it. So who am I? You already know my name. I'm a fashion stylist and now also a producer. We do photo shoots, we do video shoots, we do commercials, TV, and film too. There is a growing industry here in Ottawa right now, something that I've been learning a lot about. So if you have any questions regarding that, just let me know. And I was born in Peru, and I speak French, Spanish, English, and would love to learn more languages. So, from Peru to Canada. In Peru, one of the things that I've noticed constantly is that people love dressing me. I was the cutest kid ever. So my mom and her friends loved dressing me. My aunts would come, and I was the youngest one as well. So I was like, last chance to, get all those baby cute clothes. And we had seamstresses that were available pretty frequently. Like, I don't know if some of you are from South America or other countries that have markets available. You have souks, you have different types of things like that. In my country, we had a lot of seamstresses, and I was always fascinated and would see like how a piece of clothing would come together, how they would take the measurements, and it was just like a world that I could like sit in forever. Dress up was obviously my favorite game, but quickly it became something that I did for others as well. So I think I was like 3 or 4, because my mom always would go to conferences and things of the sort. So I would dress her up, and my dad also had a very public facing job at the time. So I would have to dress him up too. And it was my favorite. Then I would also see entrepreneurship a little bit everywhere. In South America, you see, there's people coming up to your car that have lots of candy, lots of drinks for you to choose from. They got buckets and coolers. So it was something I was constantly exposed to. And I was, again, fascinated by that world because entrepreneurship was everywhere. I went to a French school back in Peru. However, the French accent that I have is actually from France because I was in a school from l'Alliance Française. So when we first moved to Canada and I went to a school in Montreal, I didn't understand anything. They were, they're kids being kids, and they were like, "Where are you from? Oh, why do you have a French accent?" And that right away kind of made me question my identity and made me feel like I didn't belong. So fast forward to actually still in Montreal. I was doing a lot of like magic shows because we lived in a busy intersection. So I was having fun with my friends, and we wanted money to go get ice cream at the corner store. So we would do little magic tricks near the bus stop, as well as like little dance shows. And that's how we started gathering money. And that kind of became a business, I guess. And then we moved to Ottawa. And as you know, Ottawa is very bilingual, but dominantly on the streets, we speak English. I didn't speak English. So again, I felt like I didn't belong. I couldn't have common conversations with my everyday classmates. They would make a little bit of fun of me. They would say, again, you have a French accent, but you've never even been to France. Like, how does that make sense? And that feeling of belongingness was always lacking within me. Sports were, however, an escape. So I loved rugby. I know you can't tell because I'm 5 feet strong or tall or short, however you want to see it. But I love playing rugby, and I play soccer as well. And those were my escape. I loved playing them. They were a way for me to get my anger out because at the time I was dealing with a lot of internal turmoil. I started importing necklaces from Montreal to Ottawa because part of my family is in Montreal. And I could see that there was a lack of fashion in Ottawa I'm sorry, but back then particularly, there was a big lack of fashion. And so I started importing these like nice, big, bold necklaces that I saw in the streets of Montreal and bringing them to Ottawa. And with my mom, we would put tables like this at different fairs. I was 14, I was 15, I was 16. And then when I was 16, I actually got a job in retail, which was like a big marketing advantage for me because I would literally sell what I was wearing that day to clients that I was seeing at the retail store. Just don't tell my bosses. And then I went on to study business management. I was a little bit lost previous to deciding to study business management because my whole life I had wanted to be a paramedic. I saw my mom working with teams such as like the Red Cross, World University Services of Canada, and people that go out and do good for the planet. And so I wanted to be one of those people. But when it came time to do the physical exams, I got intimidated because of my small stature. And someone actually mentioned that it might not be such a good idea to be a paramedic because I'm just too happy. That was word for word what they said. And honestly, it stuck by me. I realized maybe they're right. Maybe I should look at my options. And I went to an open doors at Algonquin College where a professor asked me, why would you even want to be a paramedic? What is it that you're looking to get out of it? And what I really wanted to get out of it was help people. And I loved, like, I'm an adrenaline junkie. So he was like, start a business. That sounds like something that you'll fulfill your adrenaline junkiness. And you're constantly solving problems for people if you're a good business owner. So I went on and studied business management. I was already working in retail, so I was getting exposure and doing all of these types of training that allowed me to really like expedite my learning. So instead of having an MBA, I worked in retail for 10 years. From retail, I started and I started like taking ownership over my sales because one of the like latest retail jobs that I had was commission based. So that's when I started marketing myself. That's when I started doing email marketing. That's when I started just reaching out to people and learning the skills that I was learning in school. I was applying them in my everyday job, and that allowed me to rise up in ranks really quickly. I became the administrator of the tailor shop at Nordstrom, which was my dream come true because I loved tailor shops back home. Then I started seeing a different side of fashion and overconsumption. So I decided to completely quit it. I went to another world and I decided that I was going to start working in tech because I loved marketing and retail. So that's what I did for a few years. But then little by little, a lot of my colleagues were asking me, can you dress me for a networking event? Can you dress me or can you help me pack my bags for this work trip that I have? And that's how my business was created in 2017. One of the things that I loved the most about working in tech was that it allowed me for the flexibility to travel as well. So what I do now, I'll just go over this really quickly because you'll see it everywhere on my social media. I do one-on-one styling and I do production for photo shoots, commercials, TV, film, and such. One of the quotes that always stuck by me was "Ni de aquí, ni de allá," meaning not from here nor there. And it is this constant longing to be where I am not. Being from a family that is both from Peru and from Canada, I feel like I'm constantly in this battlefield of where should I be? Am I missing out on family events? Am I missing out on seeing my friends? And so one of the things that brought me together and really allowed me to step out of my comfort zone was having this entrepreneurship and longing with people like you all. First, I had a lone wolf mentality because I am an only child, and having moved often, I had to restart my circle of friends a lot of times. Then I started attending networking events such as this, and that's when I really started to see the power of community. And then, even more recently, I started building my team. So I have amazing people, some of you are in the crowd, and I just started realizing that my team was really a lot of people that I crossed paths with every day. So I started building what I call a database, but it's really just a note in my phone where I have people for marketing, people for funding, people for styling, people for administration, people for backdrops, people for fashion. So it's really a big team that I've brought together, and I aspire you to do that. And so this is an invite for you to go through your phone contacts and to add as many details in your notes. We think that we need an expensive CRM. Trust me, I've worked in tech. I used to sell CRMs. We don't need them. We have them at the access of our phone. We have a contact book there. Some of us still have the paper books. Those work just as well. And so add as many details in the notes section. I invite you to connect with two people at least today to see how you can help each other. And again, add each other on social media, add each other on your phones, and stay in touch. Like, truly just pick up the phone and call them. I find it such a lost art, and I love receiving random calls from my friends. And if you want to stay connected with me, that is my info. Thank you so much for listening to us, and see you soon.
Thank you so much. Are there any questions for Camila? So I can run over to you guys. Any questions? Oh, go ahead. Oh.
So, yeah. We're here.
Hi, Camila.
Hola.
I knew Camila from I know her for a long time ago when she started selling jewelry with her mom. And I would like to know how you find the inspiration and motivate yourself to keep going, not just in be grounded. Congrats on all your business.
Thank you, Diane. We've been friends for about 10, 12 years now. And yeah, I think that in an ideal world, I would say that I'm always motivated, but I'm not. And so it's important to take those days off and fully allow yourself to take them. Because there are days when I'm down. It doesn't happen often anymore because I barely have time to think. But when it does happen, I just sink into the moment. I go for walks. I stay in bed if that's all you want to do, but truly accomplish the art of staying in bed fully and let it go. Thank you.
Any other questions? Hi, Camila.
Hola.
Hola. What's next in your business? Where do you see your business going? Are you excited?
So one of the projects that I'm really excited to kind of delve into, I can't tell too many secrets, of course, but I love helping small businesses. So we've taken on a lot of commercial work. Some of the amazing vendors that are here today are clients of ours. We do a lot of their photo shoot, their social media as well. So just looking to expand and help the community that I'm part of.
What inspires you?
What inspires me the most is my friends and family, hands down. I I feel like for a long time I was dealing with imposter syndrome. I come from a highly educated family, and that's not to boast, but I have the least amount of education. And so I think for a long time I was bad. I had this inner battle of like, maybe I should go to university, maybe I should go get a master's, an MBA, whatever have you. But as of recently, I've had a discussion with one of my cousins who's a lawyer in New York, and she told me, "You're doing great." And that just allowed me to like be even more inspired to do better. And I feel like business has skyrocketed in the past like 4 or 5 months because of that.
Okay. So, do you see in the next 5 years, typical interview question, that you can be more color to Ottawa fashion? Because if I can, you're gonna be looking for colorful stuff for winter to wear. So, you know?
Well,
Yes.
it won't even be something that I tell, but I'll show you. So I've been working.
Instead of one-on-one, if you would be willing to offer like groups styling, like outfit
Oh.
before people prepare for interviews, job huntings, or entrepreneur applying for loans. So
That could be a thing. Absolutely. Honestly, I feel like half of business, once you start going, it's great ideas from the community that you get back. I didn't intend on being on TV and film. I really didn't. And I ended up there because a friend of mine saw that I was doing TikTok videos. That's really how it is. And now you're giving me this great idea, instead of doing one on one styling, offering it in a group setting to teach people how to do it. I've never done it. I always work one on one because I work with people's intent as well as their personal style that is already established, and I just elevate it. However, it could be a great idea and opportunity. So, I mean, let me know. Send me a little message on Instagram if that's something you want. But your first question regarding colorful clothing. So, Carla knows this. I've been working on a fashion line for like since 2019. And the pandemic happened in the midst of that. It's not an excuse, but it did happen. It's a reality. I'm still trying to see like where do I manufacture, what it is that I'm trying to align myself towards, because along that process, I do want to create a more sustainable fashion future. So it's a work in progress, but one day there's going to be comfortable suits for professional women available.
and one last question. Somebody? One last question. Oh, okay. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed what you shared. And my question for you is, how do you keep things simple and organized, especially now that you do so much? And it's like you style them and then you shoot them, and then how do you keep all that going?
Okay. This is something that like I am hyper organized, and it was like my biggest default for a long time. So because I played sports, I got a concussion. I got a lot of them actually. And so one of the things about concussions is that you have memory loss. So I started writing down everything. I have extensive notes for everything. That's why I started being really organized with my contacts. But now I use a lot of like project management tools. I use different mood board lists. So I could talk about organization. That would be a speech on its own. So if you want more details, please let me know, and I would gladly share.
Okay, okay. I thought it was the last one, but there's another question.
Yeah.
The last one. That's not a question, but a request.
Yes.
As there was a request for colorful clothing and a request from me, and I think so many women of this world to have proper pockets on clothes.
Big pockets.
Because it's a nightmare of women's clothing having no proper pockets. It's just.
It was also my biggest nightmare. I worked in men's suiting when I was at Nordstrom, and I could see like all these men had the privilege of taking their passport out of their suit pocket. And then I would go to the women's section and I'm like, where are your pockets at? And they were like, oh, here it is. I can barely fit my nail. Yeah. Exactly. So I'm like, sorry, I don't carry toonies anymore, so this is irrelevant to me. And I started making clothes with pockets. And actually, I tailor a lot of my clothes to add pockets too, because it is something you can do.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much.
Awesome.